So how did these animals end up in the shelters?
So how do the animals end up in here? So they're either found as strays, or they're surrendered, or sometimes they're abandoned. So we have Lincoln, or no, sorry, we don't have Lincoln, but we have Grimsby, St. Catharines, and Thorold. So if you are in that area, you can definitely surrender to us. There's usually a fee involved, or they're stray animals that are picked up, from the streets that are brought in, or abandoned, which is kind of similar to strays. So that's how they end up here.
What is the most common reason is animals being abandoned?
I don't know if there's like one specific reason. I know a lot of people surrender them because they're moving, or there's a lot of work involved that they didn't realize that is involved with owning animals. So I would probably say that's the highest reason why animals are relinquished. I think allergies are a big thing too, or moving. I think those are the top three.
What do you guys do to help them?
So basically we vet every animal that comes through here. So we spay, neuter everything, and then basically put them up for adoption. So we have a pretty thorough adoption process. So we just make sure that they are going to their forever homes where they're not going to be kind of misplaced again. And yeah, we're always, we have a vet clinic next door that's able to kind of assist with medical care. So we're always just making sure all the animals are cared for before they actually leave the building.
Is there any particularly challenging aspects to volunteering here?
I think probably the most challenging is just if you're an animal lover and seeing animals in cages and just seeing the intake and stuff like that of a lot of animals, it's probably very hard to see that if people or animals looking for their homes and stuff like that is probably sad. But I think that once they get involved here and realize that we have a great adoption process and all that stuff, they know that they are going to find their perfect home. So it's probably that initial coming into the program and not realizing what we're all about is probably hard, but once they're kind of here for a little bit, they realize that it's a good place. Yeah.
What skills do you need to volunteer here, and what will you learn?
So it depends on the program. So cat socializing, I think you just need to be a fan of cats. So you basically just learn proper handling of cats, things they like, things they don't like. For the dog walking, just obviously comfortable with dogs. Again, you would learn their temperaments and what signs to look out for and what not to look out for. And then Inside Volunteers, our other program, which is basically assisting staff. So you're kind of learning the interworkings of the shelter and kind of seeing firsthand what staff deal with. So all programs have their benefits. But if you're a fan of dogs, don't go to the cats program. Definitely go to the dog program.
Is the timetable flexible?
Yes. So Inside Volunteer requires pretty much you can come in any time to volunteer whenever we're open. It's not like a set schedule. The cats volunteer and the dog walking is a little bit more not as flexible, I should say. Usually you have a designated shift. There's 3 shifts a day that are available. So if you can't make it, obviously you can definitely catch another one. But it's not if the schedule is at 12, ideally you come close to 12 as possible, and not at 3 o'clock because in the nighttime people come in. So it's flexible and it is.
What do you expect from volunteers?
I think we just want everyone to kind of be professional when they're here and obviously treat the animals with them the most respect, and just making sure that the animals are comfortable and that the volunteers are comfortable is kind of the ultimate goal. We don't want any one messing around with the dogs, and we obviously don't want any bites to happen or anything like that, right? Because then it puts the animal in quarantine and they're here longer. So as long as everyone's being respectful for the animals is kind of the most important.
Why do you think people should volunteer here?
I think it's a great place to volunteer. I think it's nice too. A lot of the shelters in the area don't have after hours, so usually they close at 5 o'clock and that's it. Whereas a lot of people work during the day, right? So if they're going to volunteer, that's usually they're going to be on weekends or at nighttime. We definitely have volunteers here until 8 o'clock at night sometimes. So I think there's a lot of flexibility in regards to which program you can volunteer for, and also flexibility with the hours and stuff. So I think we always have a high volume of animals too, which people obviously want to associate with the cats or dogs and stuff like that. So there's always something to do if you volunteer here, which is nice.
What type of job or occupation would allow you to commit to this sort of volunteering? Specifically the dog socialization, because you have to come in 3 times a day, 7 times a week.
Yeah. So the one person, if like if they're in the dog program, they would only have to come one shift a week, ideally. Or sometimes they're like floaters, so there's I don't even know, 50-ish, excuse me, 50-ish volunteers. So each of them, I think there's either 2 to 3 a shift. So you just basically have to commit to one of those shifts. So there's 3 shifts a day that you can pick from, or once a week. Like you don't have to attend every single shift.
Do you work with a diverse group of people here?
I would say yes, and like I think a lot of people all have the same common background, like either like some type of policing or animal related jobs. But there's definitely quite a range of people in here. But I think we're all animal lovers, so it's the common ground there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, guys.